I'm here to talk about my recent work with Peter Dalton and Oscar Marcenero on public sector pay. Much of the discussion about public sector pay assumes that public sector workers are similar, but the method for determining their pay differs across occupations. In particular, there are groups of workers whose pay is determined after recommendations by pay review bodies, or PRBs for short. PRBs currently cover the pay of about 2.5 million workers, or around 40% of all public sector staff. They advise the government about appropriate pay awards, taking into account the special circumstances of their remit group and reflecting the different conditions in the labour markets involved. This work examines whether the pay outcomes differ systematically between the workers covered by PRBs and other public sector workers. We use data on large samples of individual workers to compare the pay of PRB groups with the pay of other public sector workers. The separate PRB groups we consider are shown. They cover teachers, NHS workers, doctors, prison officers, armed forces and police. The pay of each PRB group is compared to that of all other workers in the public sector. This non-PRB control group comprises managers, administrators, clerks, and other workers in central and local government. We analyse the weekly earnings for large samples of individual workers for the period from 1993 to 2007. We conduct separate analyses using data taken firstly from the New Earnings Survey and secondly from the Labour Force Survey. We examine the annual changes in earnings differentials between the different PRB groups and other public sector workers. Our analysis suggests that the PRBs have had no systematic effect on relative earnings within the public sector. The rationale for the pay review bodies is that the pay of the occupations covered would receive individual and specialised consideration. If this were the case, we might expect pay awards to vary across the public sector. However, we present evidence that pay outcomes for PRB groups do not differ greatly from those of the remainder of the public sector.